So we're learning Vine Porach Mateh Aharon, Toshin Lamed Gimel. I say we finished in the previous year, where the Alter Rebbe explained how in Nefesh Adam it works that you have the hashpah that could come, get blocked on the way. And the example was that you have an idea that you want to give over, or an idea that you're working with, and you conclude you've got to do something as a result of this idea. However, it just stays as a conclusion in your mind, and then nothing necessarily has to happen. When it comes to actually doing something, so then you've got two inyanim. One is, just because you made up that it has to happen doesn't flow automatically. That's one thing. It's a good idea. Stop, go to sleep. Second of all, now something's got to get done, so might have to review it. If we have to review it, then you might conclude that we're not going to do it this time. There could be other factors getting involved. For whatever reason, you say no, not necessarily. So these are the two barriers. It doesn't automatically go from one level to the other, from your understanding, from your conclusion, that has to go from one level to the other. And number two, when you come to review it, when it comes more relevant, you say, okay, maybe not. So now the Rebbe's going to explain the same process is from machshava to dibur to maisa. And on each level, you've got the same dynamic. It doesn't automatically go from one level to the next. And when you are in a position where you're sort of forced to go from one level to the next, you might have to just rethink it, and not necessarily that's going to happen, that it's going to go from that level to the next one. Not necessarily will that be the case. So, and we'll see, it's in machshava dibur maisa. Now, in the nefesh of the person, machshava relates to the dynamics that there are in the world of Bria. Dibur relates to the same dynamics that there are in the world of Yetzirah. And Iyasiyah, action, relates to the dynamics in the world of Siyah. The inner core of the person, his understanding and his feelings, relate to the dynamics of Atzilus. So with this, we will understand that even though there's hashpah starting in the Shem of the world of Atzilus, Hashem's Chesed and Rosh Hashanah, coming into Malchus on Yom Kippur, the Chesima, it still has to flow through the whole state of Shtalshlus. And it's similar to a person having an idea that's important to them, that they want to accomplish something from it, and it flows through their being. That's a psychology, not just psychology. It's just how they work. It comes through in their persona, through the machshava dibur maisa. On each level it can be blocked. Let's see inside the second paragraph of Hay. Hine has said the shloisha levushi hanefesh, who machshava dibur maisa. The Seder, the order, which way is machshava dibur maisa, and we learned about this in detail in V'yishlach Yeshua. The b'chtei shetia hamshacha mahaseichel, or hamidus lamaisa, in order to there should be a drawing down, there should be an effect, hamshacha, from the seichel, or the midas of the person. That means your understanding or your kindness, that you want to do something to somebody. When it comes to the world of action, it has to go through al yedei hamachshava v'dibur. You've got to take it through these other two levels, machshava v'dibur. The machshava shal yodei nimshich lahadibur v'hamaisa, and from machshava, that it should come down into dibur and into maisa. And that is, you think how to do it. You have to think out an action plan. This word, think eich lasois, is an action plan, because there's a few levels of machshava, of thinking. Thinking something out is not the same as understanding something. Understanding something is you need your mind and thoughts to get to understand something. If you're studying something, you're studying studying a topic, mathematics, or you're studying medicine. So you use your thinking, you read the words, you're thinking it out, and now once you've understood the topic, what happens? It's yours. Like, simple thing, 2 and 2 is 5, that you know. Something you know is already now seichel. You know that if the temperature is minus 20 Fahrenheit, you're going to be cold. It's a knowledge. You know that the world can't exist on its own. There's got to be a creator. That you know. So what you know is called seichel. Sometimes you can forget. And then what's you thinking can be on 2 daggers in general. There's multiple. Here we're addressing, I'm thinking out an action plan. It means I'm using that's an active machshava. I'm using my thoughts to think out an action plan. If I'm trying to understand something, so what's the focus? The focus is not on my thinking it out. The focus is getting the understanding. It's a deeper level. So it's sometimes it can be very confusing to understand the difference between understanding something and thinking about something. You can think about something, and then you can think, I need to plan this out. You're not talking about it, you're not writing it down. You're thinking it out. That's called machshava, as it is an independent koyach, levush nefesh, which is not used out for understanding something. Because when you're working to understand something, you also use your mind, the lev machshava, but the purpose is to get to the deeper level, to I understand it. How can you get to anything of understanding? You've got to use the darga of machshava, thinking about it, to get to the understanding of it. So you're not really activating the level of machshava as it is a darga, an inyan on its own. When you sit down to think something out, especially in an action plan, which is the level before speaking about it. You planned it out, and now I can tell you what it is. That's the darg of machshava. Let's see it inside. So the kiven shemachshava zu is nefredes mit seichel. Since this machshava is separated from seichel, what does that mean? Square brackets. Shemachshava hoisa esli tchila, that the machshava that was by him earlier, kishadon besichlei vehechlet sheroi lasois, when he was evaluating and he made up resolution to actually do something, that level of machshava hoisa betel haseichel, that was bottled to the seichel, ledin haseichel v'achlatosei, to the understanding, to the evaluation of the seichel and his conclusion. Because the purpose was there to understand, not to use his machshava as an independent koyach. V'inyonei shel hamachshava hurak she'al yodei nigrish seichel, and in that process, the inyan of thinking is only to get to the understanding. So it's like a tool to get up to the understanding. That's when you're trying to think something out and understand the topic. But the machshava that you have, how to do something, then is mehus b'fnei atzmei shenifred maseichel. Then it's an entity on its own, which is not part of the seichel. It's not part of the understanding that you have of the topic. Now, for example, you could have, let's say, in medicine, you could have that you're trying to understand how a certain body part works. So you've got to think it out. You use the level of thinking in order to get to understanding how it works. And now you might say, okay, now we get it. This person needs an operation. We need to fix it. It needs to be fixed. So now you say, how are we going to fix it? So we need to move into the level of, that's where you make out the action plan. He's going to need an injection. He's going to need you need a scalpel. You need to have blood. You need an anesthesia. You need all the stuff. You have to figure out the plan of how to do it. But in the beginning, you had to have that diagnostic in. You had to diagnose what's going on. So on any level, let's say of diagnostics, that's where you're thinking things out. But the purpose is not to. The purpose is to get to the understanding. So many times, people don't have clear the difference between I'm thinking something out and I want to get to understand something. So here we're identifying the level of thinking something out. I'm making an action plan. It's easy to think of what's machshava mean, an action plan, rather than understanding a topic. So now that you have this action plan, or working on it, l'chein, hamshoch machlotas seichel machshava lasos yal yedei ikuv b'shnei nonamanal. To go from the conclusion in your mind of the understanding of the idea to go to the level of making a plan, to actually plan it out, you've got these two barriers. One, the conclusion in seichel and the resolution of the seichel doesn't automatically put you into, I'm going to make a plan. In order to now bring it into the level of machshava to make this plan, you have to rethink it over a second time in order for it to get there.